Hello everyone. In this video lecture, I will be teaching you about what is wettability, what is surface tension and interfacial tension, and what is capillary pressure. Okay. Apart from that, we will be going through the experimental methods also. The experimental methods for determination of wettability, experimental methods for determination of surface tension, the experimental methods for determination of capillary pressure also. Okay. Firstly, let us understand what do you mean by wettability, surface tension and capillary pressure. Okay. Before understanding what do you mean by wettability, you have to know some terms. That is adhesive forces, and the second one is cohesive forces. What do you mean by adhesive forces? Consider adhesive forces are the forces between two different molecules. Okay, if we are encountering a force between water and solid part, that is solid molecule and water molecule, the force between them is known as adhesive forces. That is force between different molecules. Wait a minute. The force between adhesive forces is known as force between different molecules. What do you mean by cohesive forces? Cohesive forces is defined as the force between similar molecules. Both are attractive forces only. Both adhesive forces and cohesive forces are attractive forces, and it can also be repulsive force also. Basically, the force that is existing between two different molecules is known as adhesive forces, and the force that is existing between two similar molecules, force between two similar molecules, that is between water and water, and between oil and water, or sorry, oil and oil, or between gas and gas. These are known as cohesive forces. Okay, let me give an example. Consider a beaker. Okay, consider a beaker which is having water inside of it. Okay, the water is made up of different water molecules. Consider this is the water molecule. This particular water molecule will be pulled by all the other molecules from all the sides, from this side, this side, this side, this side. These forces are called cohesive forces. Forces between similar molecules. Let's go to the next one. The beaker is a solid part, and the force between this particular beaker and this area, the force is known as adhesive forces. The force between solid part of the beaker and water molecules is known as adhesive forces. Okay. Once we understand these forces, we can understand all the other properties such as wettability, surface tension also. Okay, let's get into the wettability part. Wettability is the tendency of a fluid to spread on or adhere to a particular solid surface. Okay, wettability is the tendency of one fluid to spread on or adhere to the solid surface in the presence of other immiscible fluids. Okay, let me explain it to you. Consider a rock surface. Okay, rock surface. If you put a drop of water, on top of it, what happens is, generally every rock will have the tendency to attract water molecules towards it. Okay, consider we have put a drop of water in the presence of air. Okay, we have put water drop in the presence of air. What happens is, the rock will have adhesive forces towards water, that is attractive forces between rock and water will be greater than, that is, it will be greater than the adhesive attractive forces greater than adhesive attractive forces between rock and air. Okay, these adhesive forces will be responsible for the water to spread on it. See, if you take this particular case, the forces will be like this. Okay, it will pull the water. Okay, the force that the rock grains are pulling the water towards it will be very high when compared with air. So what happens is, with time, the water molecule will spread. Water molecule will spread on rock surfaces. The ability of the rock to spread a particular fluid on top of it is known as wettability. Okay, the wettability is mainly due to the adhesive forces between rock and water. Okay, it is mainly due to the adhesive forces between rock and water. And in this case, because the adhesive forces between water and rock is very, very high, the rock surface is water wet. Means the rock particles, the rock molecules have high tendency to pull the water molecules towards it. They have high capacity to pull the water molecules towards it when compared with air. Okay, so wettability is not an absolute value. Okay, we can say particular rock is wet in the presence of when comparing two different fluids only. Okay, consider this. If you have taken a container and we have placed water inside it, we cannot say that container is water wet simply because the whole container is filled with water. Okay, there should be another fluid, so we can compare it. Okay, in this particular case, the rock surface has high tendency to attract the water molecules towards the rock than the air molecules. Okay, that's why here in this particular situation the rock is water wet. Okay, and that is the wetting phase. This water is also known as the wetting phase. That is, which fluid has the highest tendency towards rock. That is, which fluid will have high adhesive forces towards rock will be known as the wetting fluid. Here the air will be non-wetting fluid. So understand this. If anybody says for a particular rock surface, in a particular rock there are two fluids, consider in this particular case oil and water are present inside it, and they have said that the rock is oil wet. Okay, it means the rock grains will have higher tendency to attract oil particles towards it than the water molecules. Okay, basically wettability is defined by the adhesive forces between different molecules. Okay, let's go again. Wettability refers to the interface between the fluid and solid phases. In a reservoir rock and the the liquid phase can be water or oil or gas, and the solid phase is the rock mineral. And generally the wettability is defined by the contact angle. Okay, if you take this particular case, it will be defined by the contact angle. This is the forces, adhesive forces that are acting on it. Okay, this is the adhesive force. There is sigma, that is water and rock. This is water and rock. This is the adhesive force between air and rock, and this is the adhesive force between air and water. Okay, the wettability of a particular fluid, in this case water, is given by the contact angle theta. Here theta is the contact angle. Okay, wettability is defined by contact angle. Okay, let's go to the next one. And intermolecular forces define the degree of wettability. As I have already told you, the adhesive forces are responsible for the degree of wettability of a particular fluid. Yes, if you want to take notes, note down this one. Adhesive forces and coercive forces between the solid and the liquid determine the wettability. Coercive forces affect in between the same type of molecules. The same type of molecules. In liquid or solid, the molecules are pulled towards each other because of the cohesion. That is coercive forces between the molecules. Adhesive forces or adhesion. Adhesion is the other form for the adhesive forces. Interaction between unlike molecules. The balance between the forces is what defines the degree of wettability. Okay, and the wettability is generally defined through the contact angle, that is theta. And there is another term which is used to define wettability. Okay, that we will be talking about in the next PPTs. Firstly, contact angle. This is the contact angle, and the contact angle is measured from inside the bubble drop. Remember this. Theta is measured from inside the drop. From inside the drop. Okay, or the wetting phase or any phase. It is measured from inside the drop. And based on contact angle, the wetting condition of a particular rock is also defined. If the contact angle is 0, then it means the rock is highly and completely water wetted. Okay, water wetted means if this is the rock, then water will be like this, like a layer on it in the presence of oil. Okay, if it is 90 degrees, if the contact angle is 90 degrees, it is neutrally wet, means the adhesive forces between air and rock is same as the adhesive forces between water and rock. Okay, that is the neutral system. And theta is equal to 180 degrees means it is oil wet. Completely oil wet means the adhesive forces between oil and rock is very high when compared with the adhesive forces between water and rock. Okay, and wettability is measured through contact angle, and contact angle is measured from inside of the drop. Apart from, let us see how wettability defines the distribution of reservoir fluids in a particular formation. Okay, the distribution of reservoir fluids in the porous media is a function of wettability. Okay, consider a particular reservoir rock. Okay, consider it is water wet. Okay, if it is water wet means majority of the area, that is, will be surrounded, majority of grains will be surrounded by connate water. Okay, that means in that particular area, the water saturation will be very high. Now consider this is the formation, and the left hand side of the formation is water wet, and the right hand side is oil wet. Then it means on the left hand side the water molecules will be, that is, water will be very high, whereas on the right hand side the oil will be very high. Okay, similarly the wettability plays an important role in distribution of reservoir fluids in a reservoir. Okay, that is, if we consider that the particular rock is water wet, okay, then all the water molecules tend to occupy the small pore spaces. The wetting phase tends to occupy the smaller pores in the rock, and the non-wetting phase, that is the oil, tends to occupy the larger pores in the rock. Okay, we will be talking about why wetting phase is occupying in the smaller pores and non-wetting phase is occupied by the larger pores in the next PPTs. But for now, remember this, the wettability plays an important role in distribution of reservoir fluids in a reservoir. Now let us see which are the following factors affect wettability in a reservoir rock system. One of the main factors that affect the reservoir fluids is, that is the wettability is in a reservoir rock system, the reservoir rock. As a wettability is a rock property, the type of rock plays a very important role to determine the wettability of rock. Apart from the rock pore geometry also. Pore geometry is, wettability is responsible for capillary pressure, which tends to absorb majority of fluids inside the rock. We will be talking about it in the next PPTs, but remember this. Wettability is function of reservoir rock material and pore geometry and the geological mechanisms such as dolomitization, fracturing, okay, such type of things, and even the saturation of oil and water also. Okay, we will be discussing in the next classes. So remember this, wettability is a function of pressure and temperature, reservoir rock material, pore geometry, geological mechanisms, and the composition, that is saturation of oil and gas. Apart from that, the reservoir tends to change with production also. Okay. Okay, let's go to the next one. Apart from contact angle theta, and yeah, one thing I forgot to tell is, remember this, with time consider a particular rock, particular reservoir which is containing two fluids, oil and water. Reservoir which is containing two fluids, oil and water. Okay, and reservoir is water wet, and the contact angle of the water and oil is theta. Contact angle is theta. Okay, with time the contact angle tends to decrease. Remember this, tends to decrease. With time the contact angle tends to decrease. This is one important point. Write it in a note. In a note, remember this. With time, in a reservoir rock system which is containing any reservoir fluids, the contact angle tends to decrease with time. Okay. Apart from contact angle, which defines the wettability of a rock, there is another thing which is used by majority of geologists, geophysicists, and reservoir engineers. That is the wettability index. Okay. Not only contact angle defines the wettability of a rock, but wettability index is the major thing, that is the major term that is used to determine wettability, that is to define the wettability. Okay, because determination of contact angle is very difficult in real life situations. So what they have done is, reservoir engineers have defined a new term, that is the wettability index. Okay, wettability index is given by cosine of the contact angle. Wettability index is given by cosine of contact angle theta. Okay, and in the next I will be explaining it to you how wettability index is used to calculate the wettability of a rock. Okay, basically wettability index is determined to basic calculations only. Okay, we don't have to see, whereas in determination of contact angle we have to use a high definition microscope to see the angle between rock and the reservoir drop, whereas in wettability index it is calculated through the experiments. Okay, that is by injection of oil and producing of water. There will be an experiment, there will be some experiments which is used to determine wettability through wettability index. Okay, we will be discussing that in next PPTs, but for now remember this, the wettability index is defined as the contact angle, that is the cosine of contact angle. Okay, where theta is contact angle, and for theta is equal to 0, it is completely water wetting. Then that means the wettability index will be 1. For neutral phase, that is theta will be 90 degrees, that is the wettability index will be 0, and for theta is equal to 180 degrees, the wettability index will be -1. Okay, so remember this, for wettability index less than 0 or oil wet, the wettability index greater than 0 or generally water wet, wettability index is equal to 0 is neutrally wet. Okay, this is another term which is used to define wettability in a particular reservoir rock system. Okay, let's go to the next one. We have right now completed the wettability part. Wettability is mainly due to the adhesive forces between the different molecules, that is rock and oil and rock and water. If a particular rock is water wet, it means the adhesive forces between rock and water is high when compared with the other phase. Okay, and the adhesive forces between which pair is very high will be the wetting phase. Okay, that is in a oil water system, if the adhesive forces between rock and oil is high when compared with the adhesive forces between water and rock, then the rock is oil wet. Okay, I think that's the basic funda related to the wettability. Okay, as now wettability has been completed, let's come to the interfacial tension. Okay, actually interfacial tension or surface tension basically has two formulas. Okay, interfacial tension or surface tension. Basically both interfacial tension and surface tension are almost same. In surface tension is defined for air, okay, where the non-wetting fluids such as air. Okay, surface tension or interfacial tension sigma is defined as the surface force F divided by length along which the force is been acting, that is F is equal to surface force or the force divided by the length along which the force acts, length along which the force acts. Apart from that, sigma is also defined as, remember the second one is somewhat important also, E is the energy required to break droplets, that is, consider there is a drop, we are breaking this particular drop into that is several small droplets. So the energy required to break this drop to several small drops is E. So surface tension will be defined as E divided by change in surface area, that is delta A. Change in surface area. These two are very important definitions. Sigma, the interfacial tension or surface tension, is defined as surface force divided by length along which the surface force acts, interfacial tension is given by energy required to break a particular droplet into several small droplets divided by the change in surface area. Okay, note down these two formulas. Okay, let's go one step at a time. See, surface tension or interfacial tension is defined as the energy per unit area at the surface between spaces. Okay, basically sigma is given by, see, force acting per unit length. So force unit in CGS system is dyne. In CGS length is centimeter. So sigma is in CGS unit is dyne per centimeter. In SI units the sigma is Pascal per meter. Sorry, it is force, right? Newton per meter. In SI units the sigma will be Newton per meter. So you have to remember this. And yes, surface tension is the measured as the energy required to increase the surface area liquid by a unit area. That is, I have told you, right, sigma is equal to energy required to break a droplet divided by the change in surface area. So let me explain it to you. What do you mean by a surface tension? What actually is a surface tension? Consider a beaker. Which is having, this is water, okay, which is having water. Inside the water, let us take a small water molecule. What happens is the water molecule will be in static condition because from all the sides the forces will be constant. So this is, the forces will be constant, that is the cohesive forces will be constant. Okay, but is the forces between different molecules, that is same molecules will be same. So all the forces will get cancelled and the water molecule will be in static condition. Okay, whereas on the surface, that is on the interface between water and air, let us consider for this particular one, this is the surface, water surface with air. Okay. What happens is, if you take this particular here water molecule, what happens is the downwards one is cohesive force. Cohesive force. The upward force is adhesive force. Okay. And all the other force in the two dimensional will get cancelled because all the things are cohesive forces only. Okay. So what happens is, because the cohesive forces will be greater than adhesive forces, because these both the forces are different. Okay. The cohesive forces is between water and water, and adhesive forces is between water and air, and water and water cohesive forces will be greater than adhesive forces. So what happens is, the net force will be downward. Okay. So on the surface, all the water molecules will tend to go downward. Okay. As they all tend to go downward, the downward molecules tends to come upwards. In such a scenario where there is a rapid change in movement of water molecules, okay, a sheet like situation will appear. That is, a sheet appears on top of the water. Okay. This sheet, that is this layer of water, is mainly due to the interfacial tension, that is the sigma, that will be on top of it like this. Sigma. Okay. Now consider, if we place a small needle, let's place a small needle on top of the water. What happens is, the needle will stay afloat on top of it is not floating. What happens is, the interfacial tensions tends to pull, will make the needle to float on top of the water, that is sigma. This is the, let F be the surface force F, and L be the length along which the force is acting. Okay. So here the interfacial tension will be sigma is equal to F by L. Okay. Mainly due to the difference in forces, due to difference in forces between the cohesive and adhesive, the interfacial tension is formed. Okay. Interfacial tension is defined for between two different fluids. Okay. Surface tension is defined when the other fluid, when the non-wetting fluid, where is the other fluid is air. Okay. Interfacial tension is between different fluids, that is either water or oil, water or gas, such type of things. Surface tension, we define surface tension is between water and air. Okay. While studying this, one thing that you have to remember, the very important one is the definition, that is the formula. Sigma, interfacial tension, is given as the surface force F divided by length along which the force acts. Here L is the along with the force is acting, and sigma is also given by energy required to break a particular droplet into several droplets divided by the change in area, that is from this total area. Consider this is the total area A2 and this is the initial area A1. It will be A2 minus A1. So these two formulas are important and you have to understand these formulas. Okay. I will explain this while doing some experiments. Okay. But for now, remember this. Interfacial tension is for different fluids and surface tension is between water and air. And sigma is given by dynes per centimeter in CGS units. Newton per meter in SI units. For field units, it will generally be dynes per centimeter only. Okay, if you want to take notes, note down this one. You can pause the video and take down these notes. All the things that I have explained to you is given in written form. See, surface tension is the property of the liquid in contact with gas phase, usually air. That is how surface tension is defined. Interfacial tension, on the other hand, is the property between any two substances. That is either liquid solid or liquid solid air. Okay, basically both are same. but surface tension is defined for water, liquid and air. Interfacial tension is for any two properties, any two substances. Okay, and sigma is given as surface force F divided by length along which the force is acting, and you can also have to remember this one also, E divided by change in area. Okay, this one is also somewhat important. Okay, important. how we use interfacial tensions to calculate the contact angle. Okay, this is known as Young's equation. Let us derive Young's equation. Let us derive Young's equation. And one thing that I have forgot to tell you is see, if you are giving interfacial tension between two different fluids, generally, that is through API says that the first one, it will be, see, if you are giving interfacial tension between water and oil, the first one that you have to mention here is the wetting phase. Second one you have to mention here is the non-wetting phase. Okay, based on the API I am giving. Okay, whereas for rock and liquid, sigma is equal to rock water. The first one will be rock and second one will be liquid. Okay, the first one will be solid and second one will be liquid. Okay, just remember this, it's also somewhat important. Okay, API defines interfacial tension as the sigma WO. The first one should be wetting phase and the second one is non-wetting phase. Okay, and yes, right now let us derive Young's equation. Derivation of Young's equation. Okay, what do you mean by Young's equation? Let us have a particular rock surface, and the rock surface is water wet. Consider it is water wet. So we are placing a water drop on it in the presence of oil. Okay, now let us see the interfacial tension. It will be along along the interface. Okay, consider this is solid, and consider we are placing oil on top of it. Okay, then interfacial tension will be like this. Okay, this will be the interfacial tension between solid and oil. Okay, you have to remember this. So in this particular case, this will be sigma rock and water. This will be, see, this is rock and this is oil. So this will be sigma RO, and this will be sigma water oil contact. Okay, and here this is the contact angle. So what we will be doing is, let us equate forces, that is the tensions. Sigma RO is equal to sigma WO cos theta plus sigma RW. Okay, that is cos theta is equal to sigma RO minus sigma RW divided by sigma WO. Okay, this is known as Young's equation. So you have to remember this equation. You don't have to remember, try to remember this figure and you can derive it if you want. Okay, let's go again. This is the Young's equation. You have to remember this. Let us solve an equation using Young's equation. A liquid drop of water is placed on a glass in the presence of oil. Okay, is placed on water in the presence of oil, and the contact angle from the following data is sigma GO. Given this is the rock surface, given it is a glass. Okay, and we have placed a drop on it. What we have placed a water drop on it. So given sigma, see, you don't have to remember the Young's equation, you can solve it like this. Okay, given interfacial tension between glass and water is 60, and interfacial tension between glass and oil is 90, and the interfacial tension between water and oil is 60. Okay, it is contact angle theta. So sigma GO is equal to sigma WO cos theta plus sigma GW. So cos theta will be sigma GO. GO means glass oil. Sigma glass water divided by sigma water oil. So cos theta is equal to sigma GO is 90. Sigma GW is 60. Sigma WO is 60. That is 30 divided by 60. That is 1 by 2. So cos inverse of theta is cos inverse of 1 by 2 is 60 degrees. So the answer is 60 degrees. Okay, you don't have to remember the formula, but you can solve it like this by remembering the figure. Okay, let's do another question. Okay. Right now we have completed what is wettability. Wettability is mainly due to the adhesive forces and between rock and water and rock and oil. Okay, and interfacial tension is existing because of the differences in adhesive forces and cohesive forces. Okay, that is between, if you consider this, on solid we have placed oil. So on a particular oil drop, the forces between oil and solid will be somewhat less when compared with the oil and oil. Okay, so there will be a differences in forces. So there will be a net force. So the net force is contributing to the formation of interfacial tension. Okay, and the basic difference between interfacial tension and surface tension is basically for liquid and air. Interfacial tension is between different substances, between different two substances. Okay, now let's come to the capillary pressure. Okay, this is the understanding of capillary pressure is somewhat very important. Okay, let me explain this to you. And firstly, let us go into the definitions before studying the understanding of the capillary pressure. Let us go through the definitions. Basically, capillary pressure is defined through various ways. The first one is capillary pressure is defined by the pressure difference across a curved surface between two immiscible fluids. Okay, if you take a curved surface which is having oil and water, then the pressure difference between the oil and water will be known as capillary pressure. The other one is capillary pressure is defined as pressure of the non-wetting phase minus pressure of the wetting phase. See, how actually is the capillary pressure found? Okay, what happened is a particular scientist, what he has done is, he has taken a core sample. Okay, and he used Darcy's law to find delta P from K. Okay, that is Q by A is equal to K by mu delta P divided by delta L. So he used Darcy law to find the pressure difference in this particular case, that is when only water is flowing. But when there are two or more fluids, what is happening is for the same flow rate he has to apply some extra pressures for the flow of two fluids. Okay, and he found that the attractions between the oil and rock is keeping the water is allowing us to have to apply the extra force. Okay, see, basically if there are no interaction between water and molecules, and for a flow rate of Q there should be a pressure drop of, let us consider flow rate is 100 STP per day, and to obtain the 100 STP per day we have to apply 300 psi. Okay, but while sending the same Q 100 STP per day for two different fluids, What is happening is the rock is attracting some molecules towards it, so that we have to apply some 320 psi to obtain the same 100 STB per day. See, this extra 20 psi, he has defined it as capillary pressure. Okay, that is how they have found the capillary pressure. So you don't have to remember all this, but I gave you how they have found it. Okay, basically capillary pressure is defined as, this formula is very important, capillary pressure is defined as PC, pressure in the non-wetting phase minus pressure in the wetting phase. Okay. This is the basic definition. Okay. Let's go step by step. Okay. You can see one thing, how capillary pressure is derived. Okay, let us derive capillary pressure's formula. Now let us take a particular beaker. We have placed a capillary on inside it. Okay, that is inside the capillary. Once we place the capillary, due to the attraction forces between rock and water, the water will move up. Okay, water will move up. This is H. So let us consider the sigma is the interfacial tension between oil and, consider this is air and this is water. So sigma will be the interfacial tension between air and water. Okay, and theta will be the contact angle. Okay. So we have to find the capillary pressure. So generally, let us take these, wait a minute, to understand this. Okay, firstly let us derive an equation for interfacial tension and height. Okay, this H will be known as capillary height. Okay, so let us equate the forces, the upward forces acting on this particular fluid, Upward force is the surface force due to interfacial tension, that is sigma is given as surface force divided by L, length along which the force is acting. In this condition, L will be the perimeter of the capillary. So L is equal to 2 pi r, and sigma, the surface force F is equal to, here, see, the force is acting like this. Okay, F is equal to sigma 2 pi r. So the upward force will be the upward force is equal to F cos theta, that is sigma cos theta into 2 pi r. Okay, now let us see the downward force. Downward force is equal to the weight of the fluid, that is density of water into volume of water into that is acceleration due to gravity. The volume of water is given as, volume of water is equal to pi r square H. So the downward force is equal to sigma water into volume of water is pi r square H into Z. So by equating upward forces and downward forces, so what we will be doing is equating F up is equal to F down, that is sigma cos theta 2 pi r is equal to density of water pi r square h into g. It can be written as sigma is pi get cancel, r get cancel, density of water into r into h into g divided by 2 cos theta. Okay. Let us go step by step again. This is how we will derive the interfacial tension. From this we will calculate the capillary pressure. Okay, I will explain it to you. Okay, this is basically when only air and water is present, whereas in real life situations or when the above fluid, when there are two types of fluids, then the downward force will be the change in, that is delta rho. Okay, the downward force will be volume of water into delta rho into g. We are applying minus of density of fluid too, because there will be a buoyancy force acting on this one. Okay, that is pulling upside. Okay, that will be the buoyancy force. So this is the basic equation. Sigma is equal to 2h delta rho g divided by 2 cos theta, that we have derived. So from that we will calculate this one. Okay, PC is equal to 2 sigma cos theta by r. How do we do it? See, in this particular case, capillary pressure is defined as pressure in the wetting phase. Okay, in this one, this one will be the pressure in the wetting phase, and this one will be the pressure in the non-wetting phase. Okay, this will be the pressure in the wetting phase and this will be the pressure in the non-wetting phase. And if we consider this is the pressure at this particular point is P, then in that particular height the pressure will be, see, you don't have to remember this. That is pressure in fluid 1, that is pressure at free level plus density of fluid into G into H. Pressure at fluid 2, pressure at the free level plus density of fluid into GH. Let me explain it. I think I will try to explain it as goodly as easy as possible. See, you don't have to remember this derivation, but you have to remember the formula. Okay, consider the beaker. Okay, we have placed a capillary inside of it, and above is oil, this is water. Okay, so the PC is given as pressure in non-wetting minus pressure in wetting. Here oil is non-wetting, so if we consider this will be the pressure in non-wetting and this will be pressure in wetting. Okay, so or not only here, if you want you can take it from here also. Okay, if you consider here pressure in the non-wetting minus or pressure in the wetting, in means you can take any pressures. Okay, that is on the same line. On the same line, generally the pressure should be equal. Okay, due to capillary pressure the pressures are not equal in this particular case. Okay, based on pressures, that is based on static in static conditions, pressures along the horizontal will be equal. Okay, but due to capillary pressure in this particular case the pressures are not equal. Okay, so the capillary pressure in this particular case is pressure in the non-wetting phase, that one is pressure in the wetting phase. Okay, so that means as in this particular height all the above fluid is oil. Okay, so the pressure at this point and pressure at this point is same. Okay, that is pressure here P, here it is P, because above it only oil is present. From this particular height and this particular height the pressures are changing. Okay, because on the left hand side oil is present, on the right hand side water is present. So consider this is the pressure of the non-wetting phase. So it is given as pressure in non-wetting phase is given as, this is the pressure P plus density of oil into G into H minus Wait a minute. Yes. If you take this one, it is given as P plus density of water into G into H. The final it is given as delta rho GH. Basically, you don't have to remember this. From this, what we have calculated is Pc is equal to delta rho GH. Okay. That is delta rho GH is given by, from this particular formula, delta rho GH is given by 2 sigma cos theta by R. Okay. Delta rho GH is given by 2 sigma cos theta by R. Okay. That is, from here you can see, from this here Pc is equal to 2 sigma cos theta by R. If you want, you can note down this one for your notes. What we will be doing is we are actually equating the different pressures along the horizontal to find the capillary pressure. Okay. And for air water system, Pc is given by density of water minus density of air GH, that is delta rho GH is equal to 2 sigma cos theta by divided by R. And in field units it is given by delta rho H divided by 144. Okay, I think I have explained it to you in units. What is the main difference between LBF and LBM? Okay, let me see. In capillary pressure, you have to remember 3 formulas. Pc is equal to 2 sigma cos theta divided by R. Okay. And delta rho GH, this is CGS units. That is, density will be in gram per cc, G will be in, this one will be in gram per cc, G will be in centimeter per second square, H will be in centimeter, and the second one is in field. Let us firstly convert delta rho GH to field units. Okay. In field units, Pc is equal to delta rho GH, that is delta rho is in gram per cc, G is in centimeter per second square, H is in feet, sorry, H is in centimeter. Okay. We can write this one as, let us convert firstly delta rho to PCF. What we can do is delta rho is in pound mass per inch square into G into H is in feet. We have to convert it like this. Okay, that is LBM into G will become delta rho H divided by see, in field, let us derive an equation for PC in field units. In field units, delta rho will be in PCF, G will and H will be in feet. Okay, in this condition, PC is equal to LBM into G will be converted into LBF divided by inch square into feet. Okay, so we have to cancel feet and inch square, so 1 inch square. So sorry, PCF, wait a minute. Okay, let me explain it again, so there won't be any. See, PC is equal to delta rho GH. In field units, delta rho will be in PCF, H will be in feet. Okay, PCF means delta rho LBM divided by feet cube, and G into H is in feet. Okay, that is feet get cancelled. You have to convert these units to PSI. Okay, that is in capillary pressure. So LBM into G will be converted to delta rho into LBF, and this will be converted into feet square into H. 1 feet is equal to 12 inch. Okay, that is delta rho H divided by 1 feet and 12 square, and PC is given as LBM per inch square. LBF per inch square is pound force per inch square, that is PSI. So PC PSI is equal to delta rho H divided by 144. This is one formula that you have to remember. That is in field units, delta rho H divided by 144. Okay. From these three, based on these three formulas, you can solve any numerical related to capillary pressures. Okay, but for now remember these three, and you don't have to remember all the process that I have told you. Okay, that is for derivation of 2 sigma cos theta by r or delta rho gh, you don't have to remember that, but you have to know the basic differences between them. Okay, yes, for oil water system it is given by like this. If you want notes, write from the PPTs. Okay, there is another expression that is used to define capillary pressure, that is known as Plateau's expression. In Plateau's expression, what happens is, consider this is a particular grain and this is the radius 1. This will be radius 2. Okay, it is given by these R1 and R2 are radius of curvature, principal radius of curvature. Okay, it is given by PC is equal to sigma into 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. So you have to know this formula. PC is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. The Plateau's expression is given by sigma into 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. Actually, based on Plateau's expression only, they have defined the first one. Okay, that is the pressures. In the first slide, I have told you the definitions of capillary pressure. Okay, that is the capillary pressure may be defined as the pressure difference across a curved surface between two immiscible fluids. This definition is based on the Plateau's expression. Okay, PC is equal to sigma into 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. And from this you have to know how to convert the units. Okay, sigma units is dyne per centimeter. Okay, in CGS units, and R1 is centimeter. So you have to know how to convert dyne per centimeter square to atmosphere or PSI. Okay, you have to know this one. I have taught the unit conversions in the first class, that is unit conversion class. So revisit it if you have any doubts for unit conversion. Okay, let us solve this question. Okay, calculate the capillary pressure in PSI between water and oil. So see, I have told you, for capillary pressure questions, you have to remember these three formulas. By remembering these three formulas, you can solve anything. 2 sigma cos theta divided by r, delta rho gh in CGS units, delta rho h divided by 144 in field units. Given specific gravity of oil 0.7, specific gravity of water 1.5. and given capillary H is 12 feet. Okay, and they have asked you to find the capillary pressure. Actually, it is very easy. So given the capillary height is in feet, so we have to convert these densities to PCF. So specific gravity is given as density of oil divided by density of water. Density of water in PCF is, density of oil is equal to 0.7 into 62.4, that is in PCF. Density of water is equal to 1.5 into 62.4 in PCF. So finally PC is equal to delta rho H divided by 144. Delta rho is 1.5 minus 0.7 into 62.4. The H is in feet, H is given as 12 feet divided by 144. That is 1.5 minus 0.7 into 62.4 into 12 divided by 144. So the answer is 4.16 PSI. Okay, because it answer will come in PSI. So the answer is B. Okay, by remembering these three formulas, you can solve any question related to capillary pressure. let's do another question. See, calculate the capillary pressure in dyne per centimeter square. Given answer is in dynes per centimeter square. Okay, using Plato's expression. The Plato's expression PC is given as sigma into 1 by r1 plus 1 by r2, where r1 and r2 are principal radius of curvature. r1 and r2 is given as 0.5 and 0.25, and sigma is given as 50. That is 50 into PC is given as 1 by 0.5 plus 1 by 0.25. That is 0.5 inverse plus 0.25 inverse 6 into 50. That is 300 dyne per centimeter square. As they ask in dyne per centimeter square only, the answer is C. Okay. If they ask in PSI, you have to convert the dynes per centimeter square to PSI. Okay. Go to the next one. Yes. Okay. Let us stop this one. In this video, what we have seen is we try to understand the wettability, how wettability is defined, that is cos theta, and wettability index, and we have also gone through interfacial tension and surface tension. After that, we have talked about capillary pressure. Okay, in the next classes, what we will do is we will talk about the understanding of capillary pressures in a reservoir, and how capillary pressure is changing with respect to saturations. And we will also be going through the experimental methods of wettability. How do we determine wettability of a rock using experimental methods? How do we find interfacial tensions, and how do we find the capillary pressures? We will be going through all the experimental methods. And yes, that's it for today's class.